longevity lifestyle designers. This is Zach here with Secrets of Longevity in Humans.com and my new blog, martin-kilgour.com. And you can find a link to either of those in the top right hand info box if you're looking to check them out. This is a new segment I'm beginning every Sunday. I'm going to do a Q&A answering people's questions. So if you're interested in having me answer a question, you can go to my blog or basically any platform that I am engaged in, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, regular email, and you can contact me and I'll be able to answer your questions on video, as certain questions need a little more in-depth explanation to them, and video is much more easier for me to convey that across than spending half an hour writing about something or typing away on the computer. Now, some of the specifics that I'd like to address in my Q&A sessions on Sundays here is that I'm not really doing a general health type Q&A. This is specifically questions about longevity, lifestyle enhancement, and anything that falls under those umbrellas, so to speak. So I'm definitely open to helping people answer questions, or perhaps we can even schedule a personal consultation if you have a health issue you'd like my opinion on or my advice on. However, through this channel I'm looking to really focus on the topic of longevity. There's plenty of people out there that are speaking about health and disease and different ways of working with those. However, I believe that longevity is a intention that is a little more longer reaching or a little more sustainable in terms of what we can do to bring about a greater change in ourselves. So we've got two questions today. The first one's from Rob Urisco on Facebook, and he was saying, I wonder what you eat in a typical day, and what are some of your staple foods, how do you keep your caloric intake up, and what type of variety do you have, as well as how do you feel about nut butters. Well, I'll just have to say that in a typical day, I eat a wide variety of things, and it is generally something I kind of go on day after day. I kind of repeat the same thing. Generally, I mean, that does change over time, of course, too. However, usually I'll start the day with a small amount of fruit. Well, I actually start with water. I do that right as I wake up. I drink around a liter of water, half a liter to a full liter of water. Then after that has passed through and I wait a bit, I'll have a small amount of fruit, nothing much, at tops maybe 2 servings of fruit. And then I'll put together a superfood smoothie, which is usually nut-based or fat-based. So that doesn't have fruit in it, because that would cause fermentation in someone's digestive tract who has been following food combining. And I personally adhere to most of these rules of food combining, and I think it's very critical for long-term success on any diet if you're looking for health with that specific dietary lifestyle. And there can be a variety of things I put in there, but usually I'll have protein and fat in the forms of seeds, whether it's chia seed, hemp seed. Occasionally I'll put pumpkin seeds in if I'm low on either of those other ones. And these are very low, what you would call hypoallergenic foods. They really have no effect in terms of developing allergies in the body. So you can do them daily for quite a while. I do rotate foods to some extent, and I'll go off for a period of time without those and do something else. Also, Sun Warrior protein is another great source of raw protein. And yeah, I'll just mix other things into that. It's usually got an herbal tea base. I'll mix cacao in there. I do consume cacao on a daily basis. And then in the latter part of the day, that drink usually lasts me quite a while. And there's tons of other things in there, but it's going to change from day to day, so I can't say any one specific recipe that I eat. But later on in the day, I usually eat a salad, a very large salad with a variety of sprouted grains such as buckwheat, or sprouted beans like mung beans, adzuki beans, lentils, sprouts, green sprouts of a variety of sorts, lettuce, any sort of salad green. And I usually make a dressing that has a lot of spirulina in it, and mixed with oil, lemon juice, various spices, and that adds a lot of more caloric value to the salad. I also put a lot of dulse and other seaweeds and sometimes avocado on the salad. And yeah, then in the latter part of the day I usually do a green juice. I try and get one green juice in every day. And as for keeping the caloric intake up, I've never really focused on that so much. I was concerned about it at first, definitely, when I went raw. However, I've never actually sat down and calculated the caloric intake of my food. I've kind of done it to a broad extent and just got a vague idea. And I think a number of years ago when I was doing a high raw diet, I was eating around between 2,000 and 2,500 calories. I can't say for sure because it would change from day to day too. However, now I am eating perhaps 2/3 to even a half that amount of calories, yet I've stayed the same weight, but perhaps doubled or even tripled my strength. I actually haven't put on muscle bulk in that sense. I may have lost a little bit of body fat and put on a little bit of muscle, but I'm pretty much just being the same weight I have for over 7 years. I've been the same weight. It can fluctuate a little bit, and when I did go 100% raw, there was a little dip that kind of made me concerned. And this, because I maintained a high raw diet for a while before going 100% raw, and the fact that I had been eating organic whole foods and a very healthy diet even before that, I think there wasn't as much switch over that had to occur in terms of what my tissues were made out of. So some people who eat a horrendous diet that's full of all sorts of toxins and pesticides, larvicides, etc., if they suddenly go raw on a whole food, organic, raw diet, their tissues are going to start breaking down and being replaced by the higher quality stuff. And so the body will actually start to slough off more than it can rebuild. And so that's when you hear about people dropping in weight drastically when they've gone raw. So yeah, I didn't have that experience just because I think I have been living a very healthy lifestyle for a great number of years already. And as for nut butters, I would eat them if I bought them. I do occasionally buy them, however, specifically where I'm situated, there's just not that many that I find realistic in terms of their price. I think, obviously, these companies that are putting out raw nut butters, I think it's fantastic, and I'd say support them if you can. However, I don't know if it's just the stores in my area, how they seem to be around double the price of cooked nut butters or pasteurized nut butters, and that just doesn't add up in my head as being necessary because it's actually less processing involved. And I think it's just about those companies that are making the raw nut butters getting to a point where they can put out a product that's actually reasonably priced. Because I can buy the nuts that those nut butters are made of in a greater quantity for a much better price. But then again, I do occasionally enjoy nut butters, and I think they're fantastic. Also, Joey's123321 has asked about oxalic acids and oxalates, and whether I think taking MSM or DMSO daily would be a good counteraction to them in the diet if you happen to have problems with calcification in your body or the development of oxalates. And yeah, I would definitely think that that's a good way to counter the accumulation of those in the bodies. I'm not particularly familiar with that. I've never worked with that in myself because I've never had that problem. I've actually never encountered anyone on a raw food diet that has had that problem because, as I've mentioned in some of my videos, raw oxalic acid affects the body differently than cooked oxalic acid. And the work of Dr. Norman Walker has shown some of this in his work. So yeah, from my experience, both MSM and DMSO are great products. I actually haven't used DMSO because it's illegal here in Canada, but I have seen the results people get from it. And MSM itself does seem to create a beneficial feeling that I get in my joints throughout my body. So it's something that I would like to cover more in a future video or article, but until then I'll have to just say that it's a great product. So yeah, next week I hope to answer more questions, and if you're curious about a specific topic that relates to longevity, please ask them in any of the platforms, like I mentioned, that I interact with the you guys on. And yeah, have a great week.